He's got a machine up there.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
I started the reel tape machine up.
Are you using Scotch tape?
You can see there's one. Where is it? Back there.
That-
There's the reel right there.
Aren't the reels supposed to be turning?
Yeah, they're turning really slow, so I get a
Oh.
one here.
It's 3 3/4, or what is it? 1 and
15,
7?
6.
One and an eighth or something, Fred.
And
1
then,
and an
But
8th.
it was
That's
really,
it.
really slow, and it was the crappiest music you ever heard in your life.
and there's also 15/16. That's half of 1 7/8.
Oh my God. I can't imagine what that sounded like.
Or you could be using a sound scriber. I think Dan remembers those. No?
Remember those,
Dan?
Fred, remember those old dictaphones that used to use the little plastic things that would actually cut a record? You could play the record on your.
No, I do. I don't.
Oh
I
yeah, the
didn't-
dictaphone had a little plastic record. My uncle was an accountant, and he gave me this dictaphone with all these plastic records, and I tried to record music on them and play them on my. It wasn't too successful. It would play like 4 times, and it just completely destroyed the record. But it was fun to play with
Wow.
back in the day.
When I was on the submarine, we had a tape recorder in Missile Control Center. It was running, it had really big reels on it, and it ran at 15/16, and it would take 2 months to fill up the tape. And it
2 months.
2 months. And it recorded there would be a tone being transmitted to us, and it was recording that tone, no data, just the tone. And that way they could tell if we ever lost the signal, we would not be able to receive the request to fire. And we just had to make sure that tape machine was running all the time. And at the end of the patrol, they'd come and get that tape, and I guess they would put it on another machine and just fast forward it real quick, and listen to the tone. And if the tone stopped, they could tell exactly what time when it stopped, and they know where we were. And there would be we were in a couple of typhoons that we had to go deep. And so our floating wire antenna got pulled down underwater, and we lost the signal. But that was okay. You just had to be careful that you didn't lose the signal too much.
So you use the
Dan is sharing his screen up
Yeah,
here.
what are you trying
and
to
We're
do?
not seeing our video.
What is it you're trying to do, Dan?
Well, I was trying to pull up a screen off the computer here.
Oh, you had it on your screen already?
Did
On your-
have it, but I'm not seeing it here.
Well, you have to do it before you do the share. You have to select it. In other words, you click share, then select the picture that you want to put on there, then complete the share.
Okay, how do I get out of what I'm in now?
Up top, it should say stop sharing.
Yeah, there's a green thing at the top, Dan.
Oh, there it is. I had to
There you
hover over it to get it to appear.
Right now, if you have what picture you want to share with us on your screen already, click the green share button. Then you have to select that picture in the window that comes up, and then say share again in that box.
Mr. KR3EE, I'm going to show you something. See that?
Not yet.
That's your mic. That's your antenna downstairs in the basement.
We're not
4
seeing.
bars.
We're not seeing your shared picture.
Well, I'm not sharing a picture. I'm
Oh.
just putting the one up on my site here.
Oh, okay.
Can you see it? You can see my, instead of me, you're seeing that.
Rich, you're muted.
Yes, I know. I like.
Rich doesn't want to talk to us.
Yeah, Jeff is showing us pictures from Wagner's Gap.
So I'm getting a really good throughput, Rich, and also it's only 6 feet off the ground. It's like really, I don't know why, but I'm getting a good throughput. So that signals come from Wagner's Gap over to Gary's house, from Gary's house to Red Line, from Red Line over here to me in Spring Grove.
Good. Well, it proves the network works, and that's something we had no qualms about.
Rich,
Well,
like
it
a
means it proves
microfiche.
that my antenna's working right. The diagonal was definitely the answer.
Well, we still have to get it aimed properly, Jeff.
A what?
It's not aimed properly.
It ain't good enough. I'm getting 4 bars. We can tweak it.
Yeah, we can tweak it.
Rich, is that is that a microfiche reader in your screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're all together now. Who would like to start? What do we want to discuss?
I thought you were starting.
All right. What
Yeah, who called this meeting? You.
what
I
are
think
I thought it's been such a long time since everybody just got together. I mean, what are the plans right now? I mean, Cats, I mean, you guys got a repeater going there, and I guess Bratz, they still have an ATV repeater, if I'm not mistaken. Are we thinking about trying to link again? What do we want to do?
Neil?
Yeah, I was going to say, how does this dove with Rich KR3EE's plans? Part of it, or in addition, or
I don't
if you
know.
could elaborate on that.
Rich just dropped out for some reason. Maybe he's
Oh,
having
did?
problems with the computer or the internet.
You can't send pictures over wires. Well, anyway, comment, Brett's repeater has been down for some time. It was rebuilt a couple of years ago as a DVB-T in and out with a analog input retained. But the analog input was not connected. Then the Bratz repeater suffered, I think it was maybe a transmitter failure. And then that finally got straightened out. And then the amplifier went out. So that's been a dead thing. One biggie is the internals of the repeater are all digital and can be monitored and worked on remotely. So that's a number of pluses. But the Bratz repeater is a little further south of the Cats Towson repeater, so it was not considered a viable point of direct contact by Rich KR3EE, who is now back and perhaps can answer our question. You were saying, do the ATV plans in York complement or are part of the plans of getting a signal from Pennsylvania south to the Towson area?
Good question. I would say complement. We want to supplement your coverage by getting a repeater on up here. That's the whole basic of the design concept, that we can interchange between the 3 ATV systems that are in the area, Delaware and Cats, and the common point being from Truce in Lancaster County to Red Lion to Shrewsbury on the CPIN network. And we don't know where we're putting a repeater on up here yet, but we will be shooting to get one, obviously, once we get we get the connections established. I had a computer crash before. That's what happened. It just, I thought perhaps it had something to do with the bright light from the microfiche reader, but it didn't. That was just what they call a coincidence, which aren't supposed to ever happen. I don't know if I've answered your question the way you expect it, Neil.
Could you repeat the cities that you just mentioned as part of the CPIN? I'd like to write that down.
Oh no, those are sites
Sites.
on the CPIN network.
Mhm.
Shrewsbury is the connection that will get us to be able to receive 1291 out of Towson. It's basically across the highway from Bob Storm's QTH, like
Mhm.
half a mile or 3/4 of a mile, or some small piddly distance like that. Red Lion is the last site on the current CPIN network that's closest to Shrewsbury. And there's a site in Lancaster County to the east of it. And basically it's a farmer's field. It's called Truce. That will permit us to connect to KC3AM at Rising Sun, Delaware.
Maryland.
Sorry, Rising Sun, Maryland. And Dave's got the equipment. He's had the equipment for a long time, and that's a proven path for him. He just has to reactivate it. We are waiting for permission from the owner of the tower at Truce to put another dish on it. We haven't approached him yet. We have some other ducks that need to be gotten in a row because the site needs a little bit of work on our CPIN network, and we have Cat6 cables to run on the tower, and new microwave dishes, and I'm not sure if we need to replace or just repair the surge suppression systems on there. But all that work, we want to be able to do it with one tower climb, because we will have to pay for a tower climber for that. So when we determine all of the things we need to have done, we'll approach the owner, and Kevin McLaughlin, KA0JQO, will approach the owner and say, look, we want to set some time up to make our repairs at Truce, and we'd like to add another dish at the same time. And then that's when we'll find out whether or not we'll have a link to Rising Sun. But it's doable, and it's financially doable. We're still hunting for that ideal spot to put a digital ATV repeater in the York-Harrisburg area. That's Jeff. You have any comments on that? Because you're part of that effort. You and Dan, WA3ATV.
Well, I think what we're still trying to noodle through is where we're going to actually put a repeater. We've discussed many places. I think one time, Rich, didn't we talk about Red Line at one time? I don't know.
We've mentioned Red Lion.
Yeah.
We've mentioned oh gosh, the name just escaped me. Well, I should just recite all of the places that CPIN has network connectivity. Spark in Manheim, Cornwall, Ephrata, Eagles Peak, I think it is, and Mount Penn and Reading, Blue Mountain that overlooks Harrisburg, WA3 ATV's location on the west side of the river from Blue Mountain, Mount Holly Springs, and we have access to Lamb's Gap, but that's a Cumberland County site. Getting on their towers is a bit of a hassle. Not that they won't let us, they have, but getting permissions is the difficult task. So my thought was that we might do a single frequency network fill-in, DVB-T, from bands or Blue to fill in the area back towards Carlisle, and then another transmitter over in Cornwall, not too far from where Harry N3 was it KVR, KVL, Dick.
Oh, Harry, diverter?
Yeah,
N3KYR.
Yeah.
KY. Yeah, okay. Not too far from where he had his site. And that would give us pretty good coverage for most of the hams that have ATV. But we haven't firmed anything up.
As kind of just an experiment, what do you think about, like, if we're receiving Tabco at Shrewsbury's, what about just maybe having a transmitter, just even an analog transmitter, or either 439.25 or 426.25. So when we get Tabco, when we get video from Tabco, that transmitter comes on, and then all the guys down in York will be able to see it, because that's, York Shrewsbury is pretty close, and I'd be able to see it because I've got a decent enough antenna up here. And also, we got to talk about, I guess, polarization. What polarization are we going to use on UHF? Are we going to go to vertical? Or I know a lot of the guys up here have beams that are horizontal, but if we're starting this from scratch, is vertical going to be more practical than horizontal?
Well, at the moment, I think vertical is the more practical route to go, because the antennas are easy to purchase and easy to mount, and they don't wind load. One of the problems that I wouldn't call it a problem per se. One of the issues that the Shrewsbury people brought up was, you want to put how many antennas on our tower? Okay. I have a Directive Systems loop Yagi that I want to point towards Tabco. I have a KLM 27 element beam that I want to point towards Tabco. And I have the microwave dish to point towards Red Lion, and a microwave sector antenna, which is basically a grid antenna, or a grill type antenna. So it's open, so it minimizes the wind loading, but 120-degree sector, so that it points back towards the Shrewsbury EOC, as well as to the water tank that Shrewsbury uses for their DMR repeater. And that way we'd be able to pick up the DMR repeater and put it on the CPIN network. CPIN purchased a C-Bridge device to build a DMR C-Bridge network here, that if the internet goes out, we still maintain our local DMR connectivity as though nothing had happened. They actually have possession of it. They had it at the last meeting. So they have the box. How long it's going to take for them to install it, it's a good question, but you know, we're hams. we don't get things done in a timely manner necessarily.
I have a thought.
Who's speaking?
This is Dan.
Oh, yes.
We're not, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not looking at this for MCOM purposes at this point, right? This is just experimentation amongst ourselves, correct?
Right. Correct.
So my thought is, if we're concerned about the number of antennas on towers and making all of these hops and that sort of thing, why don't we interconnect via the web initially? That way we can just concentrate on the repeaters themselves and let the internet do the linking. And then as time goes on, we could add microwave links or whatever type of links we deem appropriate to do the linking without relying on the internet.
Well, if we had been starting from scratch, Dan, that probably would have been the cheapest way to go. The equipment's all been purchased and set aside for this link. The only thing we don't have is a ATV site here in our neighborhood.
Okay, so they are in fact good to go with putting all these extra antennas on the towers and so forth?
Well, I wouldn't want to add any more. Okay, but they're
I
good.
mean, we have permission to add these antennas at this point?
Yeah, they haven't objected.
I do like Dan's approach. When we consider the other repeaters that we'd like to link into, maybe north of Philadelphia and south of Towson, specifically the Laurel repeater. The Laurel repeater is in flux. Maybe Fred AI3Z or Jim WI3N could comment a little further so I don't steal the thunder. But John K0ZAK and I had been talking about crazy ideas of what if we could get a digital 5 gigahertz signal coming south, but not necessarily through Towson, but coming over a little west using other resources, and then peg all the way south to Laurel. Again, we wouldn't need a linear network, but rather maybe some odd hops. So Fred or Jim, maybe you could comment again, because we can't necessarily jump on Laurel right now because we got some things going on. So Fred or Jim?
Well, it's in a state of flux, and I'm going to be first part of April, hopefully meeting with the emergency manager for the hospital where all our stuff is now. They're building a new hospital, and we're hoping we can move the stuff from the old hospital to the new hospital, which is only a few hundred feet away, but it's a little lower. It's a couple stories lower. And if we can do that, then I'm guessing, maybe we can make this thing work. I'm hopeful. So it's going to be, I'm hoping the 9th, that's a CATS meeting is the 9th, but I've also got an MCOM drill that morning where I'm hoping to meet the guy. Well, but I'll be seeing him one of these days soon, so we'll see.
Thank you, Jim. By the way, the Towson Tabco repeater is not easily connectable to the internet. We've talked about it. Right now, it does not look easy, but the Laurel site may have better opportunity. And if we start fresh and get a small 5 gigahertz antenna on the building, we have a lead to get 5 gigahertz from a commercial site in the area that is only a couple of miles away. So they've offered to give internet that way as opposed to having to get it from the hospital itself. So we have a couple of options, but again, we just can't proceed until things shake out on where the new location will be.
We could also probably, I suspect, do that 5 gigahertz over to the city of Laurel, to our emergency operations center there, hook up to the internet there, so, and that's only a couple miles in the air, so that's not too bad either. So that's another option possibly.
Thank you, Jim.
Trace.
I got to leave in a few minutes for us my 7 o'clock meeting.
But we can get now, it's pretty, it's a good assumption that we can receive Tabco in Shrewsbury. Is that correct?
Yes,
Well, I mean, there's the first part of the link right there.
right.
It just seems that, okay, we can get it to Shrewsbury, even if we just start off with just an ATV, an analog ATV transmitter at Shrewsbury, that people could see it. Jeff, you would see it. I would see it. A lot of guys would see it. And it would be, and even we could use maybe use a 2-meter repeater. Like I imagine a lot of, what's a good 2-meter repeater that we could use for audio? Back. I mean, this is just, I mean, this is just the bare bones. This is the beginning of linking. But I mean, people would say, hey, if I got like a little cheap analog ATV receiver, I can receive this now. And just the fact that you got a signal up here, people are going to start looking for it. And I think we've got to get enthusiasm built up here. There's not a whole lot of enthusiasm for ATV. And I think if we got an actual signal up here, I think that would start to instill some enthusiasm. I guess it's quite a few years ago, but I don't know if it's Bratz or Bark, but you transmitted a packet radio talk from one of the club meetings up here on I think that probably was coming up on UHF on like 426 or 439, but I recorded that. Bob Storm was receiving that and retransmitting it, I believe on I think on 439.25, and I was able to record all that, and I mean it came through really nice, and it just doing something like that, it gets the ball rolling, and that's one part of the link. Now, how do we want to go back also by RF? I mean, it seems that Tabco and Shrewsbury have a good path by RF. A lot of the other sites, I guess, don't. So in that case, we want to go with the CPIN network, get people on the CPIN network. And how do we want the people who are actually receiving ATV in their homes, how do we want them to receive it? Do we want them to receive it via 70 centimeters? Do we want them to use the internet, 1.2 gig? How does the end user get the ATV signal?
Well, I was hoping it'd be 70 centimeters.
Yeah,
But-
I think 1.2 gig would be a tough propagation situation. And if you're doing it by the internet, you might as well do what we're doing now.
Yeah, and with 70 centimeters, you even have kind of a potential to get a little bit of DX and stuff like that. That makes it exciting. I mean, part of the mystique of ATV is getting the snowy picture and pulling the call sign out of it, and it kind of makes it fun.
I don't know if this has been publicized much, but the Towson repeater does have a 421.25 analog output. It was put up recently. John, K0ZAK, maybe you could explain a little bit better. Again, I haven't publicized it on the CATS webpage yet. I think I'm still kind of shy of some details. Maybe you could comment better.
Yeah, I can fill you in on what's currently happening at Tabco. It is receiving an analog signal on 434, although it does have a lot of ISM interference, and it's transmitting the signal out on 1291 FM and 421.25 analog. What they've got is they've got omnidirectional antennas on 1291 and 421. Unfortunately, all they have for receive on 434 are 4 Yagis in the 4 compass quadrants. Fred and I hijacked the one that was pointing towards the northwest and put the high-des receiver initially on 434. I was getting signals into it, but the ISM was wiping that out as well. So we have since moved that to 439.25. And my last trip down there, I hung a second analog receiver also on 439.25. And we swung the antenna more north. It's pointing almost due north now. And neither Fred and I can get into it because of the antenna move. But at this point, any of you guys up north want to give it a try either 439.25 analog or 439.25 2 megahertz digital, and see if you can get a signal into the repeater from up there. We will probably eventually be swinging that antenna back towards Fred and I to continue our testing. But in a nutshell, that's about it. So we'd like to see some signals coming down from the north to see if we can get into the machine on either analog or digital.
With the 1291, we could definitely get a signal from Tabco up to Shrewsbury, and I imagine we just put a transmitter up here on 1291 and have a receiver down there, and it could go the other way. You say that the Towson repeater has an output on 421, so the guys already down there who can receive 421, they could see us from up here, you know, and maybe for the, you know, for the input for us up here, when we switch, maybe we switch it so it goes down towards you, and then we activate a 439.25 receiver at Shrewsbury, and that's how we get into that to get onto 1291 to get down to you guys, and then it will go out on what 421.25. I mean that. So almost right now, that's almost doable, isn't it?
Well, we're transmitting on 1291, so we wouldn't be able to hear on 1291. You'd have to either go with a different frequency and a duplexer, you know, to deal with those issues. But right now, we're simply transmitting on 1291. We're transmitting on 421.25, and currently listening on a northbound antenna, listening on 439.25 digital and analog.
But you could still use the 1291, you know, both ways when you know, when you're receiving, you turn your transmitter off. Now you're receiving 1291 from us, and then you go out. I think you said you go out on 439.25 from Tabco.
421.25 analog and 1291 FM. I have offered them one of my 900 meg digital transmitters, modulators. It won't do 2 meg bandwidth, but it will do 6 meg bandwidth, which I think is probably fine on 900. But they're going to have to get an antenna and a power amp for it. So we can relatively easy transmit also on 900, say 911 or 915.
Maybe. So when you're receiving a signal back from us, you would not be able to transmit. You wouldn't have a 1291 output because you'd be receiving on 1291. But you could still have the 421 output and maybe even a 900 output if you wanted to. I mean, it just seems that it wouldn't be hard right now, and you have to manually, you know, switch it. Okay, we're going to go north now. Guys talk. Now and it shouldn't be that difficult to switch then back to go south. And, you know, we'll send to Shrewsbury on 439.25. It'll go out on 1291 down to Tabco. It will go out on 421.25 for everybody to see. Wouldn't that work?
That would require a complete controller redesign in order to be able to turn off 1291 transmit on and off.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, it would, but I mean, it's really not, heck, you could probably get a Raspberry Pi to do all that.
Well, unfortunately, a personal comment here is that you had a hard enough time just getting the digital receiver put online.
There's no internet control, so
Right.
prospects are limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, remember, it's
No,
434 in, 1291 out, 421 out. And John, you said something about 439 possibly in?
439.25 digital and analog in on a northbound antenna.
Okay. But so we have no reception at all on 1291, no
No.
capability.
Now,
and I thought you had the 1280 input at one point.
that's what their banner says, but I don't know if it's ever been, well, I don't know if it's ever been in operation, or I know it's not recent.
Yes.
I believe that's a holdover in the logo. That's
Okay.
actually, I believe, a Bratz frequency.
Aha. Okay. Well, we were putting the 1291 antenna, the loop Yagi, to receive your 1291 output at Shrewsbury. And we were going to transmit back to you on 70 centimeters using the KLM 27 element beam. I have 2 analog ATV transmitters I could use to send the signal down until we get an extra digital one to do that. So our problem is going to be getting our people to see things. So yeah, Dick, I could put a transmitter pointed towards Towson on 70 centimeters, and then I could put an Omni transmitter on probably maybe from Red Lion on 439.25, where we wouldn't interfere with their 439.25 signals, or 426, whatever we can do. So yeah, it's possible.
But the 1291, I mean, it will require a receiver also at Tabco, and maybe even to control it. If both sides were the normal configuration for both sides is to be in the receive mode. All right. Anybody who wants to transmit, you could put a touch tone controller at both sites. If somebody goes in with a proper touch tone controller, all of a sudden, like at Shrewsbury, they would expect a signal in on 439.25. It goes on a 1291. Tabco's sitting on receive. They're receiving it, and it's being received, and it's going out on 421, and people are receiving it on 421. And then when the guy up in Shrewsbury drops off again, you can look at, you can just have something that is a level controller, a detector. When the guy in Shrewsbury drops off, or he sends a different touch tone to shut everything down. Now both people are on receive now, and the guys down in Towson could do the same thing to come back to us. They hit the right touch tone. Everything goes to transmit at Tabco. It comes up here on 1291. It goes out on 439.25, and everybody sees each other. And that would not take a really complex controller to do that. And there'd be no internet necessary for that amount, for that level of functionality.
Problem is, though, it requires each and every operator to have touch tone controls. I would be more comfortable with something like when a signal is received in Towson from the north, that a subaudible tone be applied, so that when it comes back out on 1291 and Shrewsbury sees it, they say, I'm repeating myself, and they know to drop. Anything automatic would be much preferable, in my opinion, Although again, it requires more work. And I forgot who mentioned earlier about Raspberry Pi. Again, we won't be able to control a Raspberry Pi from Towson, but we can at least take advantage of the technology to make a better switch than
The
just using
Raspberry,
hardware.
the Raspberry Pi would just be the controller. I mean, I used to build controllers with TTL, and the problem with that is you build something, if you want to modify it, then you got to change the circuitry. With a Raspberry Pi, you can do the same thing. You don't have to, you're not going to control it. You just want it there to when it sees a carrier from something received on the receiver, it picks up a relay and the transmitter goes on. And and everybody, if you use touch tones, I mean, I just thought that this kind of a simple way to do it would just be using touch tones, because everybody's 2-meter radio has touch tone mic on it, and you put a 2-meter receiver up at Shrewsbury, you put a 2-meter receiver up at Tabco, and and you can have it set up so, like, if it's going southbound and somebody tries to activate it from the south, it just won't work. You could use like a NOR gate function or an AND gate function to do all that, and it just seems that we just sit down and we figure out what the logic would have to be. And I think it's kind of a simple way to make a repeater, and it would also kind of be fun to use. I mean, it wouldn't be perfect. Probably we get some snow and stuff. Guys are going to go in and out on 70 centimeters. So it's going to be, it's part of the whole fun part of it was the signals, the pictures got snowy and stuff like that. And you kind of don't have that on DVB-T. When the pictures kind of get marginal, it just ceases to work. And so really, I guess right now I'm just really talking about analog right now. There's no reason why we couldn't kind of do the same thing with DVB-T. But just to get something going, I mean, we talked about Lincoln for a lot of years, and even if we just take one step at a time and just get the signal up to Shrewsbury and just have a transmitter that goes on 439.25, and so people can say, hey, look what we've done. We've got this started, and that we just build on that.
Okay. So,
everything you're talking about, Dick, is things we have tested. We've tested the tones. We've tested Raspberry Pis. We've tried. We even have circuits laying around here that we did. And but I like the tones, to tell you the truth.
okay, and here's where we are in
like
that
have more
process,
control.
Jeff.
What'd you say?
Okay. If you don't mind the interruption here. SPCG had a meeting with their Eagle Scout a week or so ago, and they now have a schedule for building their new hut, and their new hut is what we need in order to proceed with putting antennas on their tower and a place for the equipment. So it's basically in process. We just have to be patient with the Eagle Scout building his project. But SPCG has been in on this from the very beginning. They had their questions. I believe they've had most of them answered. And it's in process, and we just have to wait till it pans out. The only pieces of equipment we haven't purchased for that is the coax to run the antennas, because we don't know exactly how far we're going to need to run, and not just the coax, but the surge suppression on the line. But we've got whatever filters we need. We've got the CAT cables. We've got the surge suppression for the CAT cables. The microwave link is relatively simple to install. We've got the various converters to go to digital to get to the microwave network. And then the controller. Controller is the last major issue. And once we've established the links, we can play with controllers. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yeah. And the only thing I was saying was like we have tested different types of controllers. That's part of the fun. Half of them don't work. but we get a few of them working. So.
We're almost there.
Rich,
Yes.
would there be a problem if we put a 1291 receiver at Bob Storm's house so he can see 1291?
Why would that be a problem?
Okay.
does
We're
affect our
trying.
network.
Well, I don't want to step on any feet.
You know,
I was supposed to have 2 working receivers to give to Dick. I tested both of them. One failed. So we've got 1 working receiver. And I was hoping Rich N3MOB would be here on the net, but he's not here. But he's got a number of 9660s. Some, anyway, they just need to be tested. Some have been pre-tested and just checked again. And
well, I've got 2 9660s sitting in my garage that came from Dave KC3AM. They allegedly work. I haven't plugged them in. And I don't know if they're set up to receive 1291, or since I've never plugged them in, I don't know. I haven't played with them. But I have 2 here, and I only need 1 to get the job done. So.
well, Dave is here, right? He would.
Yes, he's Mr. Please stand by up there.
Yeah,
Oh.
Dave's here.
Oh, there he is. Dave, are you there?
No, that's not Dave.
That's not Dave?
That's not Dave. No.
I'd like to meet Dave if that's Dave.
Dave's not here,
I'm sorry,
man.
my mic's on.
KC3AM and 3BFZ, you there?
I got a phone conversation going on. Be right back.
All right.
That explains the pretty girls. Okay,
Well, that's the ID on his repeater.
I know.
Yeah, that's the digital ID.
Well, I also want to mention that we are streaming the Tabco output to BATC website in England. So anybody who wants to see it and cannot see it at all, they can
Well,
log onto that website and watch it. Obviously, there's a bit of a delay in it, but it's usable.
well, I'm not impressed with it, John, to be honest with you. I've tried to monitor every Wednesday night.
Well, I just improved the link. I changed the video converter on it. It's working a lot better now.
Yeah, there are some nights it was really good, and some nights it's like so-so. I know it's
That
experiment
was
to
the
me.
video converter. It was going to monochrome. I just put a different unit on it and got the driver working this afternoon, as a matter of fact. So
Oh, okay.
should be better now.
Okay. And then, of course, there's the audio issue. Sometimes the audio is there and sometimes it's not.
You know, that audio is actually the local 2-meter. There's the ID just came up, as a matter of fact, real time. We've got the ID set for IDing every 10 minutes now, even when nobody's using the machine. So
Oh, good.
that'll be helpful. But
With-
yeah,
once
the
I-
meetings are all on 146.6.7, and it's being streamed across as well, just using a scanner. So it's not the best.
That means I can go down to Red Lion with one of my 1291 receivers and see if I can actually receive it at Red Lion.
Yeah, every 10 minutes at ID is during the day,
Good.
from 9 o'clock till midnight.
Now, with my agenda these days, that might be Friday. You're lucky I'm even here tonight because I thought about making a 6-hour drive to the north. And I'll have to do that tomorrow morning, leaving at 6 a.m. My I guess most of you know my personal situation at the moment is I lost my brother December 2nd to COVID. And he owned a bowling alley up in New York State, north of Albany. And I've got to go up and see what I've got because him and his two partners are trying to sell it. And they're running into some issues. It's the end of bowling season. The team leagues are wondering if they're going to be coming back or not because the manager announced to them that he's not going to renew his contract and he's leaving the end of the season, the manager of the bowling alley. So we've got some fires to put out up there. And it's awful hard to run things remotely, as you guys know, even if it's only from Baltimore to Towson to run it remotely. But trying to run a business remotely when you're 6 hours away or 3 hours away, it doesn't work very well. So it needs a little TLC. So it looks like I have to make this long journey. And that's going to occupy a little bit of my time, but it's certainly not going to diminish my hopes for this connection to Towson. Again, I will emphasize that we have the equipment, we have the site, we're just waiting for the work to be done at the site. We need the shed, and then once we have the shed, we can order the coax and schedule the tower work. And we're getting close. I was hoping it would have been done in September or October, but the Eagle Scout project messed us up, the timing of that. But hey, it's in process, and I just gotta bear with it until it comes in. I don't know if there's anything else you guys need from me.
I have a question. Okay. Again, the Towson situation is it's strictly over the air using what we got. That's all. There's no
Right.
immediate opportunity to connect to 5 gigahertz, even though I really want that.
Well, I'd love to have done it too,
Yeah.
but you can't put that dish up on your building because of the other guy that's there and paying for it, I guess. At least that's the information that I gleaned.
Yeah, at the moment, at least.
Yeah.
So,
Things can change, and when it does, we can make those accommodations. I have checked. There is a possible path to Reisterstown to Maryland EMA. If you think you could get stuff on their tower, and that would be fairly close to Towson.
yeah, we could also, in fact, use the Bratz 5 gigahertz, and the Bratz have offered to get a 5 gigahertz link to St. Joseph's Hospital, which
Right.
is, again, very close. It would be whatever the Bratz network of 5 gigahertz is. So it's a connection. But
Yeah, but
what is really,
I need to know where their sites are so we can plan the connection.
yeah. But what it's really driving into is we're set right now with Towson being a over the air only and nothing sophisticated. But
Right.
the question then becomes, what does the rest of the network intend to do? Say we have 5 nodes on the network, all with ATV. Is each node of that network going to have the same redundant situation of where did this signal come from? Do I pass it on? Which gets back to what Rick WA3USG was saying about touch tones, et cetera. Or can we look at picking one ATV site in the middle of the network and have it as the controller, and everybody receives and only transmits back out when, no, let me rephrase that.
Mhm.
Everybody receives and passes on to the one controlling node, be it wherever it is, say Shrewsbury, and Towson would only transmit out what it receives from Shrewsbury. So in other words, there would never be a receiver connected to a transmitter locally. Everything would have to pass through the main hub. And then that way we would have the ultimate control of what goes where. I'm just thinking computer network wise.
I believe, Neil, that out in California is basically what they're doing out there. They have a
Mhm.
central,
That is
central
exactly
point.
what they're doing.
They have a central server. I believe you would consider it a central server,
Right.
right?
They
And then
have-
it's in and out from each node to the server.
Right.
Yes.
Now, is that
everything
something in our-
Everything in California goes back to one site.
Right. And that's equivalent of a network switch
Mhm.
on the telephone line, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can somehow send a signal down the line saying, I want to connect to node 72. Node 72 is Delaware County, PA, you know?
Or even as simple, everybody receives, sends it to the central node, and
Yeah.
nobody transmits anything back out unless it came from the central node.
Yeah.
And again, that gives us ultimate clean control, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's within our 5-year plans. I just had to ask. Thank you.
The guys up here won't be able to probably get to the central node. And the guys down in Shrewsbury won't, and all this is, it looks like it could all be done on RF. I mean, with, the critical part is getting the signal from Tabco to Shrewsbury and back. And 1291 would do that. I mean, both ways. And at both sites you have an imp, and it can be you can use the same frequency, like the input on both sites could be 439, the output on both sites could be 426. And I mean, I don't think the controller and everything, it's not that complicated. It wouldn't be that complicated. And you wouldn't need really much more equipment. You would need the a 1291 transmitter and receiver at both sites. You would need your UHF transmitter and receiver at both sites. I imagine the antenna could be for 70 centimeters. It could just be a collinear. It's going to be vertically polarized. So I mean, the antennas are simple, and the only thing you need for the 1291 is, what are you using? Are you using Yagis on 1291 on both to get it up here? Is that what you're using for an antenna down there?
We have a vertical, omnidirectional vertical for 1291.
Oh, that, and the 1290, the Omni gets up here to Shrewsbury. You don't have to use a beam.
I'll be using the beam at Shrewsbury.
Okay, but you don't have to have a beam at both ends.
No.
Okay, so, well then, heck, when you're transmitting, folks could also be receiving you on the 1291 that's going up to us. So you could also use that for an output.
Pardon me, Dick.
Yeah.
It was probably 10 or 15 years ago. Remember, we were seeing 3480 on Bob Storm's front lawn with the antenna on the ground. So we're assuming 1291 will be there, and he'll have the antenna up 15, 20 feet. It should work because 3.4 worked. So
Now 3.4, they used that used a dish though, didn't it?
we were using a dish. Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. That's true.
Well, I think that 1291, I with a beam, I mean, it's like line of sight almost from Shrewsbury to Tabco, and I imagine that'll probably work pretty good. Have we actually done that yet? Has anybody actually received 1291 from Shrewsbury or from Bob Storm's house?
No,
So that's
not
something.
to my knowledge.
That's something we got to try. We just got to try that and see if it works.
But
Okay, I've
yeah,
got,
we're assuming that it works.
well, I've got one receiver for you that's set up and ready to go. I think I need to get at least another.
And one of the reasons why we haven't done it, haven't tested it, is because up until this week, Tabco was on you had to call somebody to get access to put it on the air. So now with it IDing every 10 minutes, we can actually go down, set up a portable receiver at Shrewsbury or Bob Storms, and we'll know within 10 minutes whether we'll see it.
Yeah, I've been seeing it ID. I look over and the ID's coming up.
So
Well, that's something, that's something, I mean, I've got a little portable 1296 antenna. I'm trying to think of, and I have one of those Scientific Atlantis receivers up here now, but just for an initial test, I could take an SDR receiver down to Bob's with that antenna, and let's see what kind of signal strength we get from it. That would be kind of, and I can look at that. I can look at the signal strength on a like an FM receiver, and I can tell whether or not you're going to be able to, capture video from it. I mean, if we would go down to Bob's with an SDR, we would see a really nice signal that's coming out maybe about 10 or 15 dB out of the noise. Then we can say, hey, this is going to probably work. But and that's only really the first part of this. Then we got to get a receiver down there and actually receive something. But I think and it's fun doing these initial tests. It's just plain fun going down there and seeing how that works.
Let me know what day you're going to do that. Let me know what day.
I'm going to be going down to Jeff's tomorrow, and I can bring my 1296 antenna. Jeff, you want to run over like to Bob Storm's house or to Shrew's?
I want to eat spaghetti first, but yes, after
Yeah,
that.
we'll have spaghetti first, and then we'll head out on the road, man. I think this is the beginning of this.
And you would like that.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
So this
Remember
will be-
the 421 output also. Again, it's new, but don't forget the 421 output. That might work and the 1291 might not. So
Now the 421's Omni also, isn't it?
Yeah, both transmitters are omnidirectional
Okay,
antennas.
and they're vertical. I'm trying
All
to
vertical.
think if I have I think I have a 70 centimeter beam here also that I can bring down, Jeff.
I have a small beam here.
Yeah, a
The
70
one that we
centimeter.
put at Dan's house that time.
Yeah.
We can turn that sideways.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
make it
yeah,
vertical.
we'll use that. I think mine's out in the shed and it might be all rusty.
Hey, Dick, how much gain does your 1291 receive antenna have?
I think it's in the plus. It's not negative. It's not.
Oh.
It's not really a. It's like I'm going to say 7 or 8 elements. It's not.
Oh, okay.
And I've used it on for sideband. I've got a little a 1296 sideband transverter, and I've gone out like mountain topping with that, and I've worked 50 or 60 miles with it on 2 watts. So I mean,
Great. Okay.
it's
That
something
sounds good.
it's something that, hey, if we receive even a halfway decent signal from it, then there's a chance that, hey, if we better put a bigger antenna up, it's going to probably work. But it would be nice if we just would see if we could receive something.
I'll have Dick stand in his sunroof and we'll drive down 83 with that antenna sticking out. And when we get a good signal, we'll pull over and work our way back. That'll be more fun than the other thing.
for those not familiar with the 9660 is rather deaf.
Yes.
There's a Radio Shack. Was it Radio Shack preamplifier that a number of
Yeah.
people are using. So I'd caution, remember to use a preamp if we're trying to do distance. Fred, take it, comment?
Yeah, I'm using a German preamplifier. Without the preamp, it just wasn't usable for me. I probably am 20 miles from the Towson site, so I definitely needed the preamp.
And Shrewsbury's even further than 20 probably.
It's about
Um,
27,
Is it
26.
27 miles? Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was thinking about
Well,
bringing with my
Well, I'm going to use
12
an 18 dB gain loop antenna. So it's as good as a preamp.
I was thinking about taking this with me tomorrow. This is a little SDR receiver. It covers from 50 kilohertz, I think, up to 2 gigahertz. And I can put this on the 1296 antenna, and we can also try the 70 centimeter antenna to see if we can receive both the 421 and the 1291. Now, do both of them come on at the time with the timer?
Yes.
Okay.
What time will you do this?
Well, I'll probably head down to Jeff. I'll probably be down to, it'll be a little bit after lunch, right, Jeff? Yeah, well, what time is convenient for Freddie? What time are you going to be around?
I'll just make myself available. Tomorrow is pretty open, so I don't 1, 2 o'clock, and you'll be on 9/7, right?
Yeah, I'd say between 1 and 2 o'clock would be fine. We'll be on 9/7, and yeah, I'll get the stuff all together tonight, and let's see what basically if we really have a signal up there.
Okay, and then with me being here, I can tell you, yes, I see the ID. It's on.
Okay. Now
I'd like to make a,
I'll be able to see. I won't be able to. Okay, yeah. Okay, you're going to verify that it's on for us.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Now, Dave, are you back yet? I wonder if, like with Dave, if we could try kind of the same kind of experiment with him, being that we'd be in Shrewsbury, we'd be pretty high. If we looked in his direction to see if we could is there any chance we can receive a signal from him?
Well, right now, Dave is putting out a digital signal on 400.
So there he is.
I'm still here.
Right, Dave? That's the only thing you got transmitting out of your site right now is a 400 digital, right?
Yeah, currently we're 439.25 AM input, lower sideband, so I can use the same filter and antenna for the 438 2 meg DVB-T input. And we're doing 423.
Yeah, I think
422, 423 or something like that, digital output,
What bandwidth digital output?
2 meg.
Okay. That's harder to see.
That's supposedly much easier to see.
Well, if I mean, I think that the problem is with this, I think I can only go 200 kilohertz wide. So I'd have to look for the whole noise floor to come up. You know what I mean? And is it on, is yours on constantly?
No, I don't even have the beacon on right now because there's nobody to look at it. I just got to hit a couple buttons and I have it beaconing every 10 minutes.
You know, the problem is if well, with the SDR Play, I can go 10 megacycles wide. And then that's the nice thing about that is then I can see that signal. I can see the whole signal because after the end of the skirts, I'll have just the basic noise floor. And it's really hard to tell if you're looking just at a part of the signal, if you're really seeing the signal or not. It's nice if you can see off both ends of it. Then when it pops up, you see, hey, I have the noise floor, and then for like 2 megacycles, you've got a rise in the noise floor. What do you think about the chances of being able to receive that in Shrewsbury?
That's one hell of a long ways away.
What kind of power what kind of power are you putting out on the digital, Dave?
Yeah, it's only 10 watts,
Not gonna make it.
and that's the most we have at the moment. And looking at those kind of paths, it's we're way past the curvature of the earth and
Okay.
line of sight.
Okay.
You know,
So
we remember we played with all that stuff, 25 years ago.
yeah. So for you, the best thing to do would probably be getting in via the CPIN network or the internet.
My first thought, I gotta admit, I like Dan's idea a bit. I have tossed up the idea of putting internet in at my Eat Right Road site. For $40 a month, I can get 200 meg internet from Verizon. It's already there. There's a terminal on the pole. It'd be nothing more than a couple of phone calls and have it installed.
It's funny that Dan should mention that because if you remember, Dave, about 20 some years ago when we had this meeting down at the airport there in Delaware, I mentioned using the internet for linking until we could get permanent sites for RF linking. And Hero damn near killed me. I thought he was going to come across the table and strangle me when I mentioned internet.
Yeah, I like the idea of being amateur radio related and have it 100% RF. I
See,
have
this
no
is
problem with
the,
that.
up here, I'm showing the CPIN internet and I'm running only 20 megs. It's not very fast, but it gets the job done for video. And in fact, I can go in here and, go in on a specific signal.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, nobody's moving up there, but usually there's some traffic.
But it might be
So,
some
and Dan and I are both linked on the same internet.
there might be some lovers parked in that car there.
Yeah, probably. Well, and then the guy up here, right here, you can see people peeing in the woods whenever. No one knows there's a surveillance camera up there. At least you don't have to see the front. You're usually seeing the back toward the tree, but you know what they're doing. Just a comment to Dan. Dan, I'm on the internet now. So I want to work with you. I've got a camera IP address to put another camera up. So, and like Rich KR3EE said, we need to tweak that up, but I'm getting 4 bars on that dish down in the basement. So I'm all good.
Okay, put a camera up where?
From the house here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Here, I'll show you the shot like that. That's out my window.
It's a zoom camera too. Ooh.
Well, let me open the window.
Wow.
There you go. That's a little better.
So I'm gonna put a fixed camera up there. I'll make it a little higher, but want to zoom and give you guys control over it too. We'll have a control on the internet so you can zoom in and out and play with it. Won't have any sound on it for obvious reasons. But there you go. And that'll be a nice signal up here. That's over. Actually, we can look over at York from here. York's right over there.
Yes.
So that's a signal to just be on the CPIN network, but also we want to be able to repeat that and send it ATV, either analog or digital.
And initially, if we're using this for a link between us, I would I go in on 439.25 up here, out on 1291, out on 1291, out on 439 or 421.25 down there. Right now, we don't need any interdigital filters. We're split enough in frequency enough that we can do this and we shouldn't have to worry about descents. On ATV repeaters, descents is always a real pain. And right now we don't have that because, you know, the input and output frequencies are effectively 1296 and 70 centimeters. So now if we want to up here, if we want to integrate, you know, make that site an actual repeater, then maybe to use it in the local mode, we go in on 439.25 and out on 426.25 up here. But that's for our local use, you know, then we'd have to have interdigital filters and everything. And the same way down with however you guys are doing it right now. And I guess really, being that you guys have 1291 on the Omni, you know, you don't have to worry about interdigital filters there either, because 1291, 421, it's spread out enough that you don't have to worry about that. So, you know, now you can do that because you have your 1291 on an Omni. For us to, you know, for us to get to you, we'll have to have a beam. But if we wanted to use that in a local mode, we could probably switch that to a Omni, a vertical Omni, and do the same thing here. You know, again, I think our terrain is not as good for the guys around here to receive, you know, 23 centimeters. So, I mean, there's just a lot of different things we can do with this, and just, you know, getting that out down on paper to see how we're going to do all the switching and everything. I think it really starts to sound like a little bit of fun again. You know, this is kind of the stuff we did years ago. Only now we have better
challenge. I do like the challenge.
John Kozak and Neil, there is a diamond dual band base antenna that I believe I have one in my garage. I bought by mistake. It's the X510XJ or NJ, X510NJ. The N stands for end connector and the J stands for Japan. And the antenna is cut for the Japanese 70 centimeter band, which is from 428 to 442 megahertz. So that would probably be a great Omni antenna to put on Towson in place of the Yagi that you got pointed north. 11.7 dBi, which would be 9.6 dBm gain on 440. Would you, if I have it in my garage, would you want it?
What's the length? We have a problem getting it up in the elevator.
Well, the assembled lake is 17 feet, but it breaks down, I believe, into 3 pieces.
Okay, great. I'll make a comment on it. There's another option I was just thinking at. The 1280 receiver is still in the cabinet. It's just not being used. So I'm wondering if there's enough of a spread between 1280 and 1291 that 1280 receiver might go back online again with a beam pointing north and just use that for the line haul down.
Maybe.
I don't know that we have 1280 equipment. Again, I'm thinking that's again a holdover from the CATS days, but for what it's worth, Bratz days, sorry. But for what it's worth, Bratz will work with us, the group, on the 911 and 1280 frequencies if we can take advantage of them. So that's, again,
I
an
know there is a
accommodation.
receiver in there. There's an extra receiver I was looking at last time I was down there, and it's probably what it was. Well, you can tune it to 1280, but I don't know what sort of an antenna they had on it. So it's possible that we could just point the antenna up north on just that receiver and not worry about having to switch to 1291 between receive and transmit.
Hey, John, was
Yes.
that a 9660? It's at Scientific Atlanta?
Yes, it was.
Oh, Great.
They have two of them in the cabinet. One has a transmitter built into it. The other one was just sitting there, not doing anything.
Oh, okay, great.
So Dick and I live quite a bit away. This is what his video looks like to my house. How far is that, Dick?
I'm trying to see what's, where'd you
I'm
go?
on the screen over here. You don't see me?
No,
You
wait a
don't see
minute.
yourself?
Wait a
Does
minute.
anybody see him?
Yeah, I see him.
It's P5.
I
How
don't-
far apart are you guys?
Yeah, how far apart are we, Dick? I don't really know.
We're about 25 miles apart. But I don't see you, Jeff. Where are you? Where did you go? Wait a minute.
Everybody else sees me.
Wait a minute. I'm looking.
Well, look for
Oh,
yourself.
Go up to where it says view.
Okay, yeah, that's me. That's me at Jeff's house. I'm sorry, Jeff.
No, that's
By the bottom.
you at home to my house. All right.
Yeah, that's DVB-T.
And you guys both have pretty good gain on both of your antennas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
We
got
both
it.
get about the same signal. That's 10 watts. Fred, I need to get your amp. Your amp looks so good over here at the house.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I don't know what are you using, 100 watts?
Yeah,
I need an amp like that. Because I could definitely repeat from here too. Because I'm up high enough. I'm 600 feet.
maybe I should go. Let me go get it.
Well, no, you don't have to give it to me now. Vince loves that.
Well, didn't I give you something
Okay, if you want
similar,
to give me
Jeff?
an amp, what the heck? Right, Harry?
Jeff, didn't I give you a amplifier board?
Nope.
Oh, I thought I did. Um,
But no, his I was looking. I was looking for your signal, Fred. We did record your signal. I don't know if I have it here, but it was really good.
That's the heat sink.
The digital signal, the analog signal was a little grainy. Oh yeah.
And that's
Oh yeah.
That's 100 watts?
Now, those are actually.
well, it's supposed to
300 watt.
do 300 watts, but you can't push it. You start distorting, and the distortion might be in my 10-watt amplifier.
Well,
So-
ATV, ATV analog you can take up. We've had this problem, but when you try to do digital, you can't. It's really difficult to get a good digital signal through those amps.
It's got to be
I
there.
have to
These are
really,
actually
really do that.
digital amps. These came out of the broadcast transmitter.
yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's nice stuff. That's what I need.
Well, the guy might still have some more. We have his name, and he was at Nebraska or somewhere.
I think it's WB0CMC.
Yeah, he gave away a bunch of them because they were disassembling some of the older ATSC transmitters,
Oh, wow.
and they have like 6 of
postage.
those boards in each transmitter.
I'd like to get a hold of that. Then I could definitely repeat Dick too.
I
have two of those
them, and
boards.
I think
Well, I
Fred
have-
got 2 of them.
I have 2 of those boards here that I may not be using.
you
Okay,
go.
cool.
I don't even know where they are.
Who said that? Dave. Oh, Dave said that. I
Yeah.
can't see. I try to
Take a
get
look, Jeff.
lip sync.
I'm not even sure what I've done with them.
Oh, is that what you have too, right, Rick? Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. No, I don't have that. You didn't give me
These-
that.
These are the BLF 861 alphas, I believe.
What's that runoff? A 12-volt power supply?
No,
32 volts.
Oh, 32. Yeah, I got one of those.
Yeah.
There's a 32 in here.
You have one, Jeff?
Yeah, I have a 32 power supply.
Well, then that one probably came from me.
No, I bought the 32 on Amazon.
Oh, you bought it on Amazon. Okay.
Well, he's saying he has a 32
Power supply.
power
I didn't
supply.
say I don't have that board. I don't
There's
have
the
that
power
board either.
supply.
Oh, the power supply for it? Oh, okay.
Okay.
I have one like that. Okay, cool. Well, I learned something. And that's always
I'm
good
going to
to
jump
learn
out of
something.
here, guys. We'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, I think I'll drop out too.
Well,
Anything else?
I've got a net in
Yeah.
4 minutes.
Before we go, what action items? What action items? Dick, Rick, you guys are gonna get together
We're gonna
in a
get
couple of
together
days.
We're going to
tomorrow.
get together, Neil, and eat spaghetti, and then he's going to drag me somewhere, and maybe listen, see if we get a signal.
Yeah, then
Can you
we'll
publicize?
either go to Bob Storm's QTH or go to Shrewsbury, the tower site, and
Woodlands.
try and receive. We'll be receiving from ground level from there, but we'll be on the 9/7 machine with you, Freddie, and you can tell us when it's on. Okay.
Okay. Sometime after 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and matter of fact, then while since we'll have you, you can maybe even swing your antenna up towards Shrewsbury and transmit, and we'll see if we can receive you from up there too.
Okay.
You know, that's just just an interesting experiment. It gives us a lot of different ways to look at things. But
Okay, and-
let's see tomorrow if we can receive the 421, if we can receive that, and if we can receive the 1291. That'll be the two main things.
And I cannot key the 1291 anymore with the antenna pointed north.
Okay.
Yeah, but I
Don.
can see it.
What'd you say, John?
I can see it. I'll be online as well.
Good. Okay, good.
Okay, and John, can you hit the New York 97 repeater? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay. Well, we figure we'll be on the air talking with you guys no later than 1 o'clock, and it'll probably take us about a half an hour to drive to the site, and it won't take us long to set up. So,
Great, great.
And you'll publicize
and I'll
the
let
results?
I'll use my mailing list. Hopefully, all you guys are on my mailing list. Ian, I don't think you're on my mailing list. I don't recall. Did you get an email from me about this this session? Oh,
I got it through Neil, but I'll send you my contact information.
Okay. Yeah, send me your contact information, and Bill
Okay.
at N3DC also, and I'll get all you guys on my Harry. I don't think I have you on there either.
And I don't
There's a
think,
bunch of,
I don't think the last message went out to Gary Blacksmith either.
No, it didn't. I didn't have Gary in there, but I'll put him in there.
Oh,
you can look at Cat's emails and get a bunch of the Cat's people.
Okay.
And then the brats are done by a group's IO, which only a few of us have permission to forward, but I'll pass it through there too.
Well, I've got since I recorded this, I've got all you guys information here, and I'll get your emails and I'll get you on the list. And
Dick?
Dick,
yes.
why don't you go ahead and post it on the Mid-Atlantic ATV group.io as well?
Okay.
Are you going to be able to put the video on online or?
Well, I'm going to be I'm going to be just taking an SDR receiver to receive you tomorrow. I'm not going to.
No, I mean the meeting, tonight's meeting.
Oh, it's going to be, yes, I will. I'm just trying to, I'll put it on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I'll get it on YouTube, definitely.
Oh my
You
gosh.
can put it in a Dropbox.
And I'll get you a link to it.
Great. There's one guy that I was texting. He wasn't able to join us, so he'd like to see it.
Okay. Yep. I've recorded the whole thing, and I think it ought to work pretty good. So.
Great.
So.
Another action item?
That's any other action items?
Yeah, I think for the guys up our way here in central Pennsylvania, I think we should continue our beacon project and perhaps get one of these 100-watt amps online for the beacon project and try a couple more locations.
I agree, Dan. That's a really good idea. And our problem was we didn't have enough power.
Right.
So if we
Now
get
that we
these
have these
100-watt amps up
100-watt
there,
model,
we're in
yeah.
really good shape.
Any chance of getting latitude and longitude of the various sites? just to do some modeling on the some of the antenna program, the modeling programs, the path programs?
I don't have that information yet, but I could go, you can almost go into Google Maps and get that.
I don't know where some of the sites are. That's the problem.
I have a Google Earth KMZ file, but I do not have Shrewsbury in there. But it has the, you know, like the other CPIN sites and stuff like that.
When I go to, if we stop at Bob's house tomorrow, I'll take my handheld GPS with me and I'll save it as a waypoint. And then, so we'll have that. Or if we go up to the Shrewsbury site, you could almost see the tower if you use like Google Earth. You know, you switch to the satellite view in Google Earth, you can probably find that tower and get the latitude and longitude that way. I
just don't know where, you know, I just don't know where all the sites are. I don't know where they are to begin with.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Dave, I think I posted the repeater sites on the Mid-Atlantic ATV Group's data file.
I haven't looked there for a while, but I can go do that.
Yeah, now it won't have all those intermediate relay points that are on CPIN, but it should have that. But like I said, I have no idea where the Shrewsbury Tower is, so that's not in there.
As I'm not, I got to try to play around, but what I may do, my first experiment here with the Rising Sun Maryland site is I already have a 910.0 AM transmitter on it. My Ebright Road site pointed that way, and that path had worked before without a problem. And from being down there about 7 weeks ago, it looks like the 910 antenna is still hooked up at the 400-foot level. And if that's the case, I may be able to do something immediately with 900 meg. Not sure what, but you know, I want to verify the path again, turn the 900 on at Wilmington and then go down there and see if I can see it. So that could possibly be could be turned into a 900 transmitting site if I can find some power again. And now how far that would go to where we got to go, 400 feet is, you know, fairly substantial altitude. Not like you guys out in New York that got mountains to go on top of. But for us down this way, it's kind of substantial. So I'm not sure what else that can offer. And that's the same site, Dick, that I can talk to you simplex on 2 meters from. If you remember, we did that. I don't know if that 2 meter antenna is still on the tower, but it's a possibility.
Okay.
Yeah, just check the groups.io site, and yeah, that list is still there under databases.
Okay. And hey, Dan, I'm not sure what you're using for a microphone, but you got a lot of air noise coming in, and like your mouth is maybe hitting a mouthpiece or something.
Yeah, it's made in China. It'll also give you COVID if you get close enough.
Ah, okay. One of those kind. Okay, well, those other 2 boards you guys were looking at, I have them here, and I have never done anything with them. I have 2 of them here, so they could be made available if somebody in the group needs them. I still have a bunch of 900 AM stuff here. It's got a lot of dust on it, but nonetheless, it's still here.
Hey, Rick, do you have the lat and longitude for Shrewsbury?
I don't have it right with me, but I'll get it. I'll get
How
that.
about KR3EE, because he was doing a couple of studies there. Rich? Do you hear us, Rich?
You muted.
Rich is on the Keystone.
Oh yeah, I'm paying attention to the Keystone VHF net because I'm a net manager. So I wasn't paying attention to you.
Dick's wife is running the net.
Do you have the lat and lon for Shrewsbury?
Yes, I can get it to you.
Kilo 3
Yeah, yes, I can send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
November 2, Bravo, Oscar Bravo, Bob and Shiloh, no traffic.
Hey, well, I think we got a lot out of this tonight, guys. I think it's certainly a start, and we're actually gonna go and try and receive some signals now. So
Good. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to get out of here.
okay,
Everybody have a good evening.
Night.
okay.
Have a good time.
Jeff, if you want to have an opportunity to get one of those 100-watt amps up and running, let me know if you want to start doing some more testing.
Hang on a minute, Dan. Could you repeat that? I didn't hear you because I had my receiver up. What did you say?
I just said if we get one of those 100-watt amplifiers up and running and you want to do some more beacon testing, let me know. I can.
Absolutely,
Work with you.
absolutely. I do want to cover that area up and up close to you as well, so we can link them all together. That's the big plan. So, okay, cool.
Hey, I just thought about something here, something I am not using at the moment.
Oh.
It's kind of big and bulky. But I got one of the big Comark amplifiers here. That's a 100-watt amp out of a TV transmitter.
I don't know
Definitely would be interested in anything we can get because we're going to put it in a rack anyway.
This is already, it's already rack mountable. It's already on a rack. We got cooling fans
That's
on the bottom
perfect.
of it. And connectors in and out, and it runs off at 28 volts, I think.
Fantastic.
Well,
We'll
there
try
you go.
anything, right, Dick?
Let's get that thing and get rolling here.
We'll take anything we can get. We'll figure it out.
It's large. It's nice big amp.
That's what we
Art-
want.
Art
The bigger the
Towsley worked
better.
on this. Art Towsley worked on this back in 2009. He's got it optimized for 421, 8.5 watts in, it's about 100 watts out at 26 volts, 10.5 amp.
Okay, now what is it meant to amplify? Is it a NTSC? I mean,
Yes, Class AB out of a TV station.
okay. How good? Okay, yeah, fine.
It's
Now you're
linear.
talking about
Yeah,
analog.
That's what we want.
Yeah,
It's a
yes, this is a
linear
commercial
amplifier.
analog TV transmitter.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's and it's right now it's sitting here doing nothing.
Tell Sandy to log me in. I know you're talking to her. Tell her to log me in. I don't have to go over there.
Sandy just came down here. Are one of you guys transmitting this over computers? Sandy came down here and chastised me because she says I'm interfering with her on I wonder
Are you
if Rick
doing
was,
it? I'm not doing it.
I think Jeff, I think it was you.
No, it's not me. It's definitely not me. Listen, that's my
Yes, you are,
receiver.
Jeff.
It was not me.
So,
Are you guys picking on me? All I want is spaghetti.
so is the
I'm
plan to
gonna get
use
that
Dave's
tomorrow.
amp there as opposed to building up one of the other ones at this point?
What's that?
Is the plan to use Dave's amp for these beacon tests as opposed to building up one of the other modules at this point?
If you guys have like 8 watt, it says like 8 watts to drive it. So if you already have that available, this can, we can get this up to you guys somehow.
Yeah,
And
we can definitely drive with 8 watts. We'll just take our other amps and turn them way down. Dick, we could give them 8 watts out of that amp. The amps we have, right? The amps I have, I've got 2 of those smaller amps, those 10-watt ones, to drive 8 watts into his amp. Are you following me, or did you have a stroke?
I'm having my lobotomy hurts.
It has to have 10 watts into it. We have 2 amps I have 2 amps that put out 10 watts. We can currently crank them back.
What are you going to try? Are you going to be sending NTSC? Is that what you're going to be sending?
No, I'm going to
DVT.
use digital. I'm going to try digital first.
Doing
Well,
that old crap.
I think I don't know how good that amp's gonna be for
We're
DV.
gonna find out, aren't we?
You know, I mean, I have a 100-watt Mirage amp. I mean, one of the old ones that's modified for ATV, and the maximum I can get out of that is about 12 or 13 watts.
Yeah, but we don't know until we try. And now Jack's on my case about, will you get on it?
Okay, so how do we hook up with Dave to get that thing? Physically.
Somebody has to drive down to Sunshine, Maryland. But the gas is cheaper down there. You know, it's never going to get down in Pennsylvania, so I mean, we're kind of stuck anyway. I probably could take a road trip.
It's
Go
a,
pick that up.
yeah, it's,
Dick's
yeah, you know, I can
convinced
meet
it's not going
somebody
to
out
work,
in
but that's
Langville.
okay. I'll pick it up anyway. I never turn down anything. He
No,
knows that.
Jeff, you should have that. You should have that.
You want me to take it so you can say I told you so. It won't work on a digital because it's not linear enough, and then it works. What are you going to say then?
I'm gonna say,
Oh,
love
shit.
me, never having to say you're sorry.
Yeah, I'll work directly with Dave. I'll figure out a way to get it.
I can meet you
Yeah,
out,
gotcha.
I can meet you out in Lancaster someday.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah,
that.
that would work. I'd even come out there. We
I
could
didn't.
come
You're
out
not
there.
invited now because you don't like his amp.
And actually,
Yeah,
I
that'd
never
be great.
said
We should
that.
take
I
another
never
road
said
trip.
that.
We should take a road trip down.
I think it's a
Uh,
magnificent amp.
and actually, depending on how soon you want it, the first, I don't have a calendar. Where's the calendar here? The first Saturday in April, which is April 2nd.
That's good for me. Or April
I will
Fool's Day,
be
for
in,
that matter.
I will be at a VE test session.
okay.
Down, outside of Rising Sun.
Perfect.
The State Line Amateur Radio Group,
Oh, those guys. Okay.
they meet at a Moose Lodge or something like that.
Okay.
Down in, it's not Northeast, it's not Rising Sun. I forget what it's called.
The
I think,
state
maybe
line-
they do call it Rising Sun. But
Yeah,
I'm
that-
down there
that
for a
works.
VE session. That's where Rich and I met up a few weeks ago when I was back there in January or February for their VE session. But either way, we'll see what.
Does that work for you, Dick? You don't have any plans for Saturday on the 2nd of April?
I don't
It's
think
not,
so.
I gotta see what my schedule is at work. I started working at Home Depot now, just to keep myself busy and get some part-time money. Let me see what my schedule is and I could, we're all free, we're all retired. We could take a ride any day. I want to say, actually Thursday. But Thursday, we're supposed to have rain. This Thursday, I'm off. And we could meet for lunch up in Lancaster.
I have nothing to do on Thursday. Do you have anything, Dick?
I got the microwave luncheon on Thursday.
Well,
Where's that at?
It's a microwave group. We meet in Elizabethtown.
Oh, well, that's way too far away.
Yeah, I can't do that Thursday.
Yeah, well, we can think about something.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Jeff will come. He wants that amp. He should have that amp.
Yeah, it may not be 100% perfect, but it's a lot closer to most of the stuff we have.
Hey, I want to play with it. If I don't use it, I'll bring it back to you.
Yeah. Now, having said that,
Got to jump out, guys. Good night.
Okay, see you,
I'll see
Neil.
ya.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks.
Neil.
See you, Neil.
I'm heading out as well. Great to see everyone this evening. Take care.
Nice
Good
meeting
night.
you, Ivan.
Take care, Aunt.
Take care, Ian.
I don't know if there's any more of these available. I have 2 of them.
Ooh, interdigital filter. Is that what they are?
Oh, now you're interested, Dick. Jeez.
Now,
It's a,
Oh, the power supply.
ooh.
no.
No. What are we looking at?
This is
Yeah.
another commercial amplifier
Oh.
that is
Oh,
already
yeah.
being used in the ATN network in California. And they say it does work very well for digital.
That might work better.
Yeah.
I'm
But
in.
might
look what
work
the
better.
look what the output says.
That's why I'm in.
Yeah, 400 watts. Yeah. We could just get
We
it
have a
up to
power supply that'll
1,000.
handle that?
Yeah, you got,
A 28, 30-volt supply. I've already got one that has been recommended by Mike Collis. It's about a 260 watts, $260 supply. It's a switching supply. He says he already uses this supply with this amplifier with no interference out of the switching supply.
I think we can,
Because it does do
Yeah.
like 28 amps or so.
yeah.
Are you saying you have that or we would need to order that?
I need to order the power supply. I don't have that yet, but I have 2 of these amplifiers here in my possession, and there may be 6 or 8 of them more about an hour away from me.
Jeff will buy one of those for you.
I
gonna-
put Dan to
man.
buy the power supply.
Somebody's
He's
going to give me
excited.
I got a couple of switching supplies, 10 amp switching supplies that someone's going to donate to me.
We'll work it out. We'll figure it out.
So this is another thing. Mike Collis has told me he uses this particular amp already in the ATN network in California. To make it work, there's 4 input transistors. I need to take and put a little 10 picofarad cap across each one, parallel the other caps that are already there. And he says that'll bring it right down to the hand bands. It'll work fine.
Perfect. Perfect.
That'd be terrific.
How much are they
Perfect.
getting out of it on digital?
He says they're already using it. Of course, out there they got, they got those 5, 6, 7,000 foot antenna sites.
Yeah, they're up in Mount Wilson, I think, aren't they?
Oh, they're on several mountains.
Yeah.
What does that thing need in the way of drive?
4 or 5 watts,
Wow.
not a whole lot.
How much power are they getting out of it?
He's talking, I think, 100.5 or so
Okay.
on
That
digital.
would be perfect.
Give me a second here. It only takes 5 little screws to open it up.
I wouldn't touch that line.
Dick, I'll go halves on the power supply. Because I like to eat dinner once in a while. And when our women get together, we get in a lot of trouble.
I know.
Can't keep secrets anymore.
Sandy poked her head in here and said, which one of you guys are transmitting on my net?
Yeah, and Mr. Rick, KR3EE, throws me under the bus.
It was Rich. I think it was Rich.
It was. He's smiling, but he knows he's the one transmitting.
Hey,
I
Dave,
think
make
it-
some noise so that the picture will switch to
It
you.
was on there.
Okay, there's
Oh, wow.
there's what the amplifier looks like inside.
Wow.
Oh, that's nice.
Very
That
simple.
is really nice.
The 4 transistors on the bottom are where I just got to parallel. I got to put this little cap on the input, which I already have. I just
Wow.
got to take it. Maybe I'll go do that tonight since I have the thing opened up now. But
I think that would be perfect.
three red lines coming out, 1 green line. So you put the 3 together for plus, and I've already gotten 60 watts out of it analog, just as it is.
Wow.
Driving with a PC Electronics TC1.
Have you ever tried to look at like your sync and everything and how linear it was?
No, I have not done any of that yet whatsoever. But Mike Collis says these work quite well for ATV. There was a guy right down in Smyrna, Delaware that Vince and I happened to stumble across. He's a military guy and he's got a lot of military surplus, which is how we met him. And we stopped by his house to drop a whole lot of military surplus stuff off. And he takes me through. He's got a couple of small barns, I guess you could say, is his eBay stuff. And I happened to see the heat sinks there, and he says, "Oh yeah, we got a bunch of these. Why don't you take a couple and try them for free?" I do have some of the combiners that these went into, but Mike is saying that the combiners are no good because they're just too high in frequency and they won't do us any good. Because I was thinking of possibly combining a couple of transmitters, analog and digital transmitter, and put it into one antenna. But that he says the combiner is not worth much, other than scrap metal for us. I have not verified that myself.
I mean, that, I think one of those amplifiers is gonna be plenty, you know, I mean,
It could work. Like I said, I haven't played around with it yet, but Mike is fairly confident that it will.
How much
You
is the
guys
power
remember-
supply?
What's that?
What's the price of the power supply?
It's about
$200.
$260, $270.
It was 200 a minute ago, Dave.
No, about 260, 270.
What's the voltage on that?
The supply is 28 volts, I think, at probably 27 amps.
wow.
So that's something we could use on our other modules if this doesn't pan out.
Yeah, it's a 1,000-watt supply. The output voltage is roughly 24, and Mike said you just crank it up to 27, 28, and it works just fine.
All right, well, send me the information on that. That would be something worth ordering.
For a hefty supply, yeah. Set it to switching supply, and he doesn't have any RF issues with it. TRC Electronics.
Hey, shoot me an email.
Okay. I think if I get the right side, there's the model number right there. RSP-1000-24.
What's the manufacturer again?
TRC Electronics.
Got it.
And if you guys are ever up at 10:30 Tuesday nights, the ATN network from California is on. That's kind of comical to see sometimes. And as I think Neil was saying earlier, they take all of their sites, everything is microwaved. They reuse the same microwave frequency from site to site to site. They do both horizontal and vertical at the same time as they're using dishes. They just go dual polarity on each dish from mountaintop to mountaintop. And everything comes back to one particular mountain. I think it's Mount Santiago Peak. And they have custom built a controller to take all the inputs, and everything comes into there, and then everything goes back out. And each individual repeater site, has one link output and one link input, and that's it. And they're doing Southern California out to Nevada. Very big, very, very extensive. Matter of fact, something I didn't believe it until I saw it, but Mike was showing us some pictures of his house. And where he is, even though he's out in the mountains of California, he still has tower restrictions. So he can't put a tower up. So to get above the trees for his antennas for ATV, he actually put Roan 25 up in the tree. And the Roan 25 sticks out the top of the tree, and that's how he mounts his antennas. So he climbs the tree, then gets on the Roan 25, which is inside the tree, and climbs the rest of the tower to do his ATV stuff.
So he's a real amateur radio operator.
I didn't believe it until he showed us pictures of it. You got to be kidding me! But that's how he does ATV from his house.
Hey, that's what works.
He's a broadcast engineer for CBS.
Yeah, I know that. I actually have never met him, but I know of him. We worked out there. We put some of those transmitters in over in Mount Wilson when we were converting to HDTV. Or
he's the brainchild of the ATN network.
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
The only problem I have with him, which I complained to him about, is he talks way up here. I need him to talk down here.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, he talks. He has trouble coming down to the layman's level.
Oh,
at least
yeah.
my level, put it that way. But yes, you ask him a question and you can get a very, very detailed, accurate answer.
We, the engineer I was working with left the keys in his car when he was we had to buy a SUV or rent an SUV to get up the mountain. So he had to get some gas and he locked the car running, okay, by the gas station. And we had to get another car and drive all the way back to the airport to get the keys to come back to get that, to drive back up the mountain.
Wow.
And when we came back, it was still idling in front of the car.
Yeah,
And
he's
it took
got
hours
about,
to get back to the airport. I mean, it's LA.
I think he says he's got like a 2-hour ride to and from work.
Oh, yeah. But the neat thing is if you go up the other side of the mountain, you don't have to climb the mountain hardly at all because it's the high desert on one side. The other side is almost straight up. It takes forever to get up there, Anyway,
That's what he says.
I gotta go. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah,
I'm busy. I have to key up my radio, so I ruined the the net. And stop shaking your head. Yes, KR3E.
It was
I know
Rich.
you're
No, it was
listening.
Rich. You wanted to get me in trouble with my
I'll
wife.
see
and
you
he did.
guys. Bye-bye.
Hey, I'll see you guys. I'm gonna head.
Okay. Have a good one, everybody. Good to see everybody. We'll do this again.
Yep, definitely.
See y'all later, guys.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
Catch you
Aye.
later.